Even though the congregation numerically was just beginning, the church never doubted God would enable them to grow both physically and spiritually. So following the charter membership commitment, the church bought 2.15 acres of land at 909 West Locust Street for a cost of $5,000, which has the same buying power of $44,000 in 2014. Evangelism and edification were two sides of the same coin as the church began to seek and save the lost through Christ. Everything was being done for the first time during this early period of the church's history. 1955 revealed the focus of the church to reach both the community and the world with the gospel. An early example of the forward and outward thinking the church would value and display often throughout 60 years was the church's first vacation Bible school, centered around the Bible with all classes and handicraft working together that the student might receive a clear understanding of the Word of God. The first VBS was held in the home of a member, John Coulter. A nativity scene was placed on the newly bought property even before a worship building was built. The hope was to draw in even more people to grow the church, but it equally continued to spark an evangelistic outlook in church culture and mission work. It was decided that 10% of all church income would be set aside for missions, and the first mission offering was given to Butler Springs Christian Assembly. The church also began supporting its first missionary on a monthly basis with the Grayson Ensign family from the British West Indies. When the Ensign family arrived home on leave in 1957, the church held its first mission rally. The Merkel family moved out and let the Ensigns live in their home during their stay in the States. In January of '56, the church began training men for the roles of elder and deacon. Both spiritual and physical growth was occurring, just as the congregation had trusted God to provide. Attendance that year had tripled from the fall of '54. January of 1956 saw an average of 102 on Sundays, 116 on Sundays by April, and the church would no longer fit in the apartment on North South Street. Groundbreaking began in March 1956 for a house chapel with a seating capacity of 150. During May, the entire congregation was busy making drapes, varnishing the newly purchased used chairs, and sanding the floors of the new facility. The first worship service was held in the new building the first Sunday in July, with 124 in attendance. John Wilson, Arthur's minister from First Christian Church in Springfield, Ohio, dedicated the house chapel in August. At the dedication, 280 were in attendance, and the church selected its first 3 elders and first 7 deacons. Monthly reports were sent out to all supporting churches, and from the very beginning, Wilmington was very thankful of their prayers and wanted to celebrate with other Christians what God was doing through their financial giving. The church's first note burning, paying off the land debt, was held in this house chapel in 1957. In January of 1958, the church sent letters to all the supporting churches that had helped them financially to get started, thanking them for their support and asking them now to channel their funds to other mission fields, as the Wilmington congregation could now carry the financial load of the church. The attendance was growing too. By 1959, the church was fast outgrowing the space the house chapel offered for worship. Neil Sanderson made an electric torch, and it was mounted on the organ as the light of evangelism. The torch continued to burn as long as there was someone new in Sunday school. It burned for over 4 years before being taken out of use in 1964. Very seldom during that time was it not burning. Attendance continued to grow, and by 1960, Wilmington Church of Christ had moved to 2 worship services per Sunday, and plans began to be made to build a new facility to house Sunday morning worship and education. Even while the church was growing financially and numerically, the leadership never misplaced their God-ordained mission to reach the lost with the gospel. A continual emphasis has always been placed on sending out disciples to the mission field to preach, teach, and be missionaries. On June 1, 1958, less than 4 years from the church plant, Wilmington Church of Christ sent out their first Timothy into the ministry, setting apart Donald Merriman with an ordination to preach the gospel of Christ. Averaging better than 1 a year, the Church of Christ has sent out 79 men and women into Bible colleges, Christian ministry, and missions since its first worship service in 1954.